Hi, you guys. I'm going to wait just a few minutes to get into the bulk of what I'm going to be discussing until some of you guys join me because right now I'm seeing I don't have anybody here yet. And like I said, normally I don't broadcast at this time, or I don't live stream at this time. And I certainly did not advertise that I would be going on today. As a matter of fact, here I see one person's here. Hi! All right. I guess I should get to the point about why I'm doing a quick live stream. I'm actually in class. I'm not in class, but I did my class today, my English 3 critical thinking class. Oh, hi, Eloquent88. It's you. Oh, I don't know. There's 3 people here now. Hi. Good to see you here at this time of the day. All right, so let me get to the point about what's going on and why I have concerns about my last live stream and the guest that I had on the show. The person's name is Tom Morello, and I came in contact with him. The connecting person to me, even speaking to him, is Sarah Rachel Adams. All right. And if Sarah's lawyers are looking at this particular broadcast, I'm completely okay with that, because everything that I'm saying is what's actually really been happening to me. And I am not bringing any information that I could not. That couch is making me hallucinate. It's funny. Hi, Charles. It is, huh? It's like, whoa. Yeah, it's. I kind of like it though. It's interesting. It's the core of my school. I'm in the school cafeteria right now, so because they have good internet here. Okay, so I was talking about my guest that I had on I guess it was like November 1st, 9:30. It was like a day ago. Okay, so my connecting person to this, me meeting Tom Morello, is actually Sarah Rachel Adams. I just want to specify that. I also want to say that now that what I'm gonna share with you, I think Sarah has had a team of people that have been working with her that have been cyberbullying me on my social media. And, and hear me out is why I think that this is actually really taking place. One is a while back, I did a show about, it was called Tales from the Mothership, Sarah Rachel Adams and Lauren Pritchard, right? And that is the video that Tom Morello made a comment on and said that he had some bad things happen to him with Sarah. I'm paraphrasing, and that he wanted to speak with me. All right, so I'm giving you that particular setup. What I've noticed, the people that are working with Sarah are a couple of other YouTubers, and one of the YouTubers' name is Cody Pendant. Okay, CODYBEND, I believe. ENT is how they spell it. All right. And then there's also another YouTube channel called The Judas Goats. Now, The Judas Goats is an interesting name because I just watched an old piece of footage that had Jordan Maxwell on it. And he talks about how the Judas Goats are they're called the Judas Goats, the people that run the sheep off the cliff. It's the Judas Goats that takes them over the cliff in the wrong direction. Now, of course, we know what the name Judas means biblically, right? And then goats actually have a, I don't mean to have yeah, Electro Pig. Hey, Electro Pig. Good to see you. How's the weather in Canada, right? This is a good backdrop for me. Thank you. Yeah, I do kind of like doing like the lunch live stream from City College. Okay, so where was I in this conversation? All right, so I was saying that the reason why I'm saying that I have a question mark on these particular websites, the reason why I have a question mark on these particular websites is because I've watched them. There's a technique and on YouTube when somebody is trolling you, and according to a video that I watched by Andrew Gine, I'm not necessarily totally a fan of Andrew Gine, but she does make an important, she's saying a fact about when a channel just does shows about one person. Every single channel is humiliating an individual, and usually they'll take the person's own footage, like Cody Pendant is, and so Cody Pendant, if you go to his YouTube channel, and if you want to subscribe, I don't mean to take anybody's subscriptions away, but if you want to subscribe to these people, I'm basically plugging their channels for them, but they do like the whole thing is about Lauren. The whole thing is about Lauren Pritchard and making her look at like an idiot. And there is videos that are titled "Sarah and I do blank blank blank" to Lauren Pritchard. So Sarah is involved with these people doing this particular doing what they're doing to Lauren. Now, my question to Sarah, I'm sure you're probably going to somehow find this, but why are you paying so much attention to really cyberbully Lauren Pritchard when she's basically saying things that are kind of nutty? The only insulting things or incriminating things that she's saying about you is that you don't have your own mind and that you've been hijacked by AI intelligence, which is really outlandish. And it's something that you really can't prove that would be a reality. And so when somebody are saying like outlandish things, like, by the way, an outlandish thing that Sarah has tweeted on Twitter about me, I want to bring this up. So funny. Earlier today, we talked about, liable, when somebody's liable on social media for lying about something, or how do you define that? Cyberbullying. One of the other people in my class was bullied so bad that they were shaking in their voice talking about it. And I don't know if you realize the real ramifications of, like, when you are out there doing videos about somebody, or that are, yes, when you are a public person, like a YouTube video person, or you are a speaker on a forum, or you are if you've come on my show, you've made yourself public. You're no longer really, you're not just like someone watching a show. You've become a part of the show. And especially if you are, talking about UFOs or extraterrestrials or whatever knowledge that you are technically an expert on, being on your research and your experiences, you have to realize that when you're working in the world of esoteric, when you're working in the world of things that are not necessarily people have an interest in, if you did a poll on people and said, how many of you do you think that their unidentified flying objects are real? Or, what are your spiritual beliefs? There will be a collective belief about what we think is true about something, but to really prove that it's actually a fact is a very big challenge right now, but in the world. Because people are even arguing whether or not the world is flat or not. So when you come out, if anybody comes out and says, I'm a psychic, I'm a healer, I'm selling med beds, or I'm doing this or that, it is okay, and it's really part of being having freedom of speech and being able to. This is like the town square. It's like I'm yelling out to the town square, only the town square is virtual right now, and technology has opened up, has made a virtual town square rather than a physical one. But if I was in the town square, I could make an argument as to why I think this particular business is not ethical, or actually is not really, like they're taking your money, or the person is not is presenting themselves in a way that's not truthful and not who they really are. And I think that that is totally acceptable, and that is a logical thing, and that it has been taking place during the history of mankind. This is just the way we are, right? It's different if you're sitting in front of a camera. I'm going to use Lauren as an example, and you're just making stuff up about somebody. Like, you have a theory that they're artificial intelligence, and at that point, you have to like consider the person and the source and where this information is coming from, et cetera, et cetera. If I were Sarah, if I had somebody saying that about me and saying that I was artificial intelligence, if I wanted to, the least thing I would do would maybe make a joke about it. Oh, did you hear that I was, I'm AI and I'm not even human. I mean, I don't know what the joke would be, but it would be something, right? All right. And that's about it. Like, to me, you don't take that kind of stuff seriously. And you certainly don't engage with another media host that their primary objective is to humiliate another person in their channel. Like, I did a show about these ladies, but I know I'm talking about it now because it happens to be prevalent and it's happening. But I have an entire body of work of interviews that I've done and things that I've done in my life, that have nothing to do. Like, my channel is not dedicated to Sarah Rachel Adams. The only reason why I mention it, frankly, is because I'm a little bit under distress over it. And I want to share with you what that is. All right. So you have Sarah doing these videos with Codependent. Codependent found me on my channel and brought something up, kind of argumentative. As a matter of fact, it sounded like it came out of Sarah's mouth herself, where they go, well, you went out to dinner with her and you met Haley Meyer, as if because I did that, because I shared a meal and physically met her, that I'm a traitor, or I'm supposed to have some sort of allegiance, almost to the point like, well, you didn't even pay for it. We paid for your meal. Like, I should suck it up and just, bow down and be so impressed that I'm not going to criticize or ask questions about, let's say, the narrative of Max Spear's death, because I really think that this is what it's really all about. It's really all about the fact that I'm questioning Taj, and I'm more inclined to believe Sandra Droy right now in terms of the last days before Max's death, where he said that he had no contact with Sarah and that he was getting rid of toxic people in his life, and he was like, eating well and all this kind of stuff before whatever happened where he slipped up or somebody put something in him. I don't know. I mean, I can't say those things, but when he went down to the decline of his death, all right. Sandra Droy said that he wasn't having contact with Sarah. I have verified this with Vanessa Bates, and according to Vanessa, yes, that is true. That he was not with Max. All right. I just want to reiterate this again because I really believe that this is what it's about. I want you to know. I can't figure out why Sarah won't leave me alone, and I think that she's gone to great lengths to disrupt my life. And even, I think, actually put people in my life either to distract me or to find out information from me, and that they may be who they are, but they're not really authentic in their intentions to want to be speaking to me. And so that's what I feel. And so so Sarah has been involved with this Codependent particular channel. Codependent came into my YouTube and made a comment. I didn't know who he was. I subscribed to his channel for a little while. I saw him do a series of videos about Lauren Pritchard, one of which he actually doctored it up to make it look like it was an actual newscast, but in fact, he just inserted Lauren into the newscast to make it look like the newscast was about her, to basically humiliate her. And I said, you know what? This is really shoddy. Like, I called him on it. Like, what is your channel about? Like, why are you engaging in this particular activity? After that, I did find it odd, and I still find it odd that I block Sarah. Sarah creates new profiles so that she can say something to me on Twitter and make sure that I see it. For example, the last time she did that, she tweeted that there were a bunch of people that were haters that were responsible for Max's death, and that they also she almost died too. They wanted her dead too. Only there's a new group of people, and some of the old people that were associated with the past, and those people happen to be Terry Joyce and Tina Black. All right, when you talk about tweeting something that is libelous, that is libelous. When Sarah comes into my chat room before I blocked her, while I was doing a show, and she writes in the chat that I threatened to rape her, and then says, being blunt is one of my superpowers, that is libelous. That is a libelous, slanderous, defamatory, and untrue comment that she is intending to make to my whoever is watching or whoever knows, those types of things are absolutely not acceptable, and it's not true, and she has absolutely no proof of that. And yet Sarah is like running around threatening to sue people for being slanderous when she's actually engaging in slanderous behavior herself. See, I'm in the town square right now, and I'm calling her out, and I'm calling her out in this town, in this virtual town square, and letting you know that that should not be acceptable. That's not okay, and that is grounds for a lawsuit. I, too, am a public personality who has made my living mostly my entire life as an entertainer, and that I still consider this as me setting up a way for me to make money online with other things. I have other plans that are not just focused on the topics that I'm talking about. And my algorithm and what is said about me is very important as well, just as important as it is as you, Sarah. So if you're going to actually make a statement, make sure that you make it true. Otherwise, you're the person that's going to be having a lawsuit. So in that tweet, she mentioned Tina Black, all right? And I want you to focus on the name Tina Black for a little bit. And Tina Black is really key in the dynamics of the group of people of what they're doing. So you have the Codependent, YouTube channel. You have the Judas Goats YouTube channel. By the way, Judas Goat was in Stephen Cambion's audience when Lauren was a guest. And Judas Goats, and even Judas, see, before that show happened, Codependent, Judas Goats, they at Terry Joyce me on Twitter so that I could see a video that they uploaded to Twitter that had Lauren Pritchard talking negatively about me in it. All right. That was because I wasn't looking at videos. My journalism class, I had a 3-day no video challenge. I did a video about it, and I specifically said to Lauren Pritchard something. And I said, and if you're doing videos about me, I can't look at them right now. Well, they made the effort to find me on Twitter so that they can make sure that Lauren was talking shit about me. All right. And not only did they there was a whole thread of people that, how like Twitter is, there's a whole group of people that have been to look at the video. Okay. It would be Codependent, the Judas Goats, Lauren Pritchard, and Sarah Rachel Adams, Holly Baglio, and myself, because apparently Holly Baglio has been having issues with these guys as well. All right, and I've seen like some dialogue going between one another, and I guess maybe I might have been a catalyst to that. Okay, so doing Marcelo. Hi, Marcelo. You're doing thinking tests to sharpen your memory. Oh, that's interesting. What kind of tests are you doing? And then Electro Pig von Falkengruben saying, I don't trust any of those things at this point. Too many implications and ramifications in the legal as well as genetic modification spheres for my liking. Yeah. Okay. So that's going on Twitter. Guys, that is a form of cyberbullying. That is actually a form of cyber harassment. I believe it is because of the fact that they're CCing me and they're CCing me to something negative, and they're all waiting to see. Now, Laura never responded, but when I scrolled down farther, because I even blocked her Twitter still showed up. So Sarah was also in the thread on Twitter with the insults that Lauren was saying about me. All right. When Stephen Cambion did his show, there was a guy at that point before that show happened. I noticed this on Twitter, and I blocked Judas Goetz, and I blocked Cody Pentit, and I blocked Lauren Pritchard, right? Because I don't know what's going on there either. The person that I did leave open on my Twitter was Holly Baglio. All right, that was the only person. I don't have a reason to block Holly. All right, so. When the show started, the Judas Goetz was in the chat, and the Judas Goetz goes, "Hey Terry, how come you blocked me?" And it did kind of like a tisk kind of thing. So they acknowledged the fact that I had blocked them on Twitter, and I said something like, "You know what? You're trolling me. Of course I'm gonna block me." Or I made some sort of comment like that in the Truth Seekers chat. Also, I also want to reiterate something, and this is common stuff. I guess, I said it on my other channel. I really haven't said it on this channel, but if you look at my Twitter, I say that I'm, a vlogger, a podcaster, a stand-up comedian, and alleged porn writer. All right. And I'm kind of joking about that, but then I'm kind of not joking about that. It is I've talked about it. I've done shows about it. Matter of fact, I even have a log line for a screenplay about it, actually. I have written 2 adult films that were AVN Award nominated. And also, one of them went into a university as a study on human sexuality. And so, yeah, I have worked in the adult film entertainment industry. I probably shouldn't say that so loud in my college, but if they wanted, I even my screenwriting teacher knows that's my past, because I figured that if I can write a screenplay that is AVN Award nominated, 2 of them, and that end up being recognized in a university, even though it is an adult film, what would happen if I actually wrote a legitimate screenplay? And that is one of the reasons why I am back in school, if everybody really wants to know. Okay. But one of the movies that I wrote was a film called Hardcore Circus, which had some really famous adult film stars in it, one of them being Ron Jeremy, who is now, we know what's been happening to him. All right. This happened in 2009. Okay. And at the end of the show, I don't know who it was. I'm thinking maybe it was Judas Goetz, that ended up giving Stephen Cambion a donation and said something mentioned Hardcore Circus. This is for Hardcore Circus. And Stephen Cambion thanked it and read it out loud, and he really didn't know what it was about. But I think that it's somebody in that camp who has a vested interest in making me look bad or not credible. I'll tell you why I believe that you should consider me to be critical and honest about it, is that I'm telling you, and I've always told people exactly what I've done and said and what my flaws are. I know that I am not a perfect person and that I have made some, wrong choices in life, but you know what? That's how you learn. Like right now, I'm learning how to write an MLA style writing. And my last one wasn't so hot because I haven't mastered it yet. Now, I could sit here and punish myself over it. Or I can sit back and go, you know what? This class is kicking my ass. And I'm going to learn something when I leave here that I'm going to be able to apply so that I can learn how to write journalism copy or a screenplay or a freaking comedy act. And kick ass. All right. That's my goal. I'm actually trying to better myself right now so that when I'm right here, I'm more logical and have more discernment and more honesty. an ability to communicate with her, you. And I feel that Sarah is like doing her best to just throw a monkey wrench. I don't even know if she realized that that's my goal, that I'm not going on. If you're professing yourself to be a dimensional life coach, then why don't you sit back and talk to your higher self about what my purpose might be on the planet and support other people, other voices, other souls that are maybe going to be able to contribute to the overall collective of humanity. Now, I know that that's a very lofty wish, but what the hell are we doing here right now? We are living in an epoch that, nobody has ever really experienced before in human history. You and I are going through something, and it's kind of scary. And so what do we have but each other to, pretty much like be the speakers or the documenting of that information, or to try to like figure out what our survival is, basically, or where are we going to go as a society? What do we find that is going to be acceptable, for our future? Those are the things that I'm trying to do somehow, either in a script or, what I say in person or whatever. Those are my intentions those are my goals in life. My goal in life is not to have to sit here and tell you about what I think about my last guest, because when I have somebody on my show, I want to make sure that, I'm not just wasting your time, and that it would be worth it for somebody to actually really be listening to what they have to say, or at least contemplate or find it interesting, or there's some shred of credibility, even if it weren't for the fact that they had participated in the genesis of this movement, this UFO convention money-making machine that a lot of people have profited from. And you got to admit, some people have research, like Jordan, Maxwell, that has research about things that he knows, but he's not hawking med beds, all right? Or promising to hang a triangle over your head and you're going to be magically healed. Okay? And that too, the snake oil salesman and the shuckster and the Judas goat has been around for a very long time. And, it's a free market. They get to be here too. But it's a free speech market too. And if we see one of them, or we suspect one of them, then we can contemplate and discuss that. And if we want to talk about the ethics, or if we feel that another individual who happens to be that way, that is shucking spirituality, is actually engaging in targeted harassment, stalking, and cyberbullying on the internet, I think that's of major concern. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, we don't have strong enough laws on what cyber harassment and targeting and bullying is. We don't have good, strong laws, because we're kind of living in a new experience, and it's a lot easier to create different profiles. It's a lot easier to to be somebody who has a YouTube channel that never shows their face to anybody, or it's a lot easier to just keep creating. If somebody gets blocked, they create another YouTube channel to come and harass you. If you know me, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, or I know this is my new channel that's building and everything like that, but if you know me from before, and you've witnessed all kinds of profiles that even had names in it, like Terry Poo, whatever, in the name. They actually created a profile to have an insult in the profile's name. All right. That should be criminal activity to do that to an individual, because if you're not strong, a person who is weak is going to want to commit suicide, or they're going to fall apart. But maybe that's the goal for it, really, for some people, because they know that's what it is, right? So here's the clincher for me in terms of Tom Morello. I had Tom Morello on the show because he is. But I don't think he's, let me tell you who Tom Morello is, just in case you didn't see the other show that I'm talking about. Tom Morello and his wife, who I think goes by her I'm going to say her writer name right now, Kathy Feather Eagle or something like that. But, I found her obituary. I found everything checked out. I didn't ever see Tom Morello's face until my show when he came on, and I could identify that, yes, it really was Tom Morello, according to other pictures that he showed me. But the problem that I had with Tom, number one, in the beginning, and people go, well, maybe he just liked you, he had a crush on you, and he wanted to, come see me. But he was very pushy about, in the first conversation, about coming and meeting me. Where am I at? I'll just drive out and meet you. Blah 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 blah. And I don't know him. Like I just relocated. I'm not. Nobody needs to know like what my address is. And I put him up, and then it was so pushy that I had to go, hey, sorry about that. I said, hey. I didn't realize it was going to echo in here like that. I said, hey, I don't know you. I've been pretty much, a targeted person. Not a good idea to meet up with Tom. No, thank you, Charles. Not a good idea to meet up. No, I don't think it is either. And Charles, even after I said that on the show that you were at, I mentioned it before I brought him on, he still pushed to see me recently. Really pushy about it. And I just know. And so that happened. Then there was the talk, and people do this, the talk of the money pot, of the, I call it the honey pot. We do have laws on the books, specifically libel and calls for violence. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, isn't that what Lauren Pritchard did, concerning, C.W. Chanter? And yet, I think that video's still up. It's like there's a lot of people like, if you're saying like, hey, man up, everybody, you should be doing something about this. Then yeah, you are that is hate speech. You're actually calling violence on another individual. He's after the brandy. Charles, I love your sense of humor. If you were targeted, it means you were meant to be a celebrity. You know what? There are a lot of people that are targeted that are not celebrities. It could happen for all kinds of different reasons. And that's a whole nother conversation. But there's a targeted individual, and there's a person who I think that anyway. So getting back to the whole thing, the point I want to make before I go, because I have to let this go. I have to go on with my life and just state it for you guys, and I don't want to leave you hanging here without the total point why I don't trust this. So I watched these websites go up. I watched the donation being given to Steve Cambion, and so that with the word hardcore circus in it. And then at the end of Steve Cambion's show, Lauren just, like people still wanted to talk to her, even though he was gone. We were still in the chat a little bit. And, Lauren, Judas Goats was there, and he goes, I have a question, Lauren. And she goes, oh, what is it, Judas Goats? And I just find that odd. I find it odd that she would just be so willing to speak with this guy that I had actually blocked earlier. And how could she not know that there's a Judas Goats channel that's been doing, video after video after video about her, insulting her. And when I talk about video after video, and when I brought up Andrew Gine earlier, Andrew Gine and Sean Atwood did a show about the definition of what cyber harassment is on YouTube. And one of the signs is, and these channels did go down, like What is Truth channel, with Weezy, right? His channel went down, and the reason why his channel went down, or one of the main reasons, because he was one of the ones that had every video after him about Sean Atwood. You could tell that the only objective that he had was to insult Sean Atwood, right? So that is where YouTube, if they catch you, I mean, a lot of people just get away with this. I mean, I can't imagine that they can police everything. But if they catch you, you could lose your channel that way. I think maybe if you're I'm not as big on YouTube as Sean Atwood is. So he's bigger, he has a bigger audience, he garners more money through advertisement. So probably YouTube is going to pay more attention in protecting him from other people doing this type of harassment, because it would be affecting his algorithm and his audience and his money, and they were making money from his channel. I really think that in a way it kind of is, there's a loop that way, with who gets to be protected and who doesn't get to be protected, you know. So I thought it was unusual that Lauren Pritchard was interacting with somebody that was actually the name of a channel that was engaging in this type of targeted harassment. Now, on YouTube. Now, maybe, you know, she's not aware of that. She's not aware of that channel. But I'm thinking, you know, how could she not be if she's actually tagged on Twitter? I can make all kinds of excuses. Okay, so the bottom line of what's bothering me now with Tom Morello. I felt at ease with Tom when he came onto my show and showed me his face. And, you know, I did enjoy having the interview with him. He's charismatic. He is there is a... Somebody's singing over here. There is a that distracted me. Did you hear that? There was like singing going on, like "Happy Birthday to You." All right. Okay. So, what bothered me with him is that, first of all, he wanted me to edit out the part, because I told you he gave me a honeypot. He wanted me to edit out the part about giving me medical vaccination cards in order for a fake one, in order for me to be able to perform or do whatever. And I'm sorry, but if I'm going to do actual real journalism, then I'm going to say, I want to tell people what actually is the truth, because that is in an act in itself is a bribery. And it's a very controversial bribery. And I wouldn't even put it past the fact that it could even be a setup. Because if I had agreed to something like that, then wouldn't it just be really easy just to like tell somebody, hey, she's got this, and then I get busted. And then that could spill out into, you know, being a celebrity in a different way. Okay. Now, that being said, I found that little offer on the table was not so good, and made me put a question mark on why this person was talking to me about Sarah. I found that what he said about Sarah to be weak in terms of a problem, really, and it had holes in the story. You know, the setup was that Sarah did a video with him to set up a GoFundMe so that he could actually... Oh, don't worry about it. I'm actually live streaming. Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't worry about it. I'm cool about it. It's me that's kind of invasive, because I'm actually like on camera here in the cafeteria. Don't worry. Hi. Okay, so so where was I in this? Right. It's kind of fun. Anyway, let me take some coffee. Let's hold on for a second. I thought it wasn't appropriate. It wasn't appropriate conversation to have with somebody when that's the first time that you're actually really talking to them. And so that was a red flag. But I went on, you know, he seemed like he wanted to try to do stand-up. He also offered me, or said the possibility that I could go. The reason why he was offering something like that was because he offered me maybe that I could do a stand-up thing with him at one of the UFO conventions. Oh, okay, right. So, look, I've been worked like this before by people. You know, I mean, I worked in the entertainment industry. All right, I've had people blow smoke up my ass or give me a honeypot and what they think that I might want or might be desperate for, because maybe, I don't know. You know, and sometimes those things are offered to you because they want to know how much of yourself you're going to compromise in order to get it. And it's like almost like a Faustian deal, right? I mean, I think it's kind of a Faustian deal on a spiritual level, even. And this is how I'm perceiving the conversation. To be honest with you, these kind of thoughts are running through my head when he's giving me this offer. And so, we talked. He went down to the comedy club in Tucson and looked at the, club and sent me pictures from the club and all this and that. And then I got the idea, well, let's do a show together. I want to interview you because you have, obviously I want to ask about your wife and her channeling and the numerology and all that other stuff. And he was like, okay. And then I decided just to double check. Just, sometimes I go to Ben Verified, which is actually a site that you can go into and put somebody's email in it, or you can type in their phone number or whatever, just to see whose real name is actually really associated with that person. And so that's what I did. Now, his name didn't match. His name, the address, because I really did find a Tom O. Morello that was married to his wife, Kathy Gallant Morello, and did have a Facebook page that was a different Facebook page than the one that he friend requested me with. I don't know if he has two Facebook pages himself, but I found that to be, I saw that there was something off there with the Facebook pages. And his YouTube channel uses the character of a South Park character in the frame of it. Now, the same South Park character matched the Facebook page that's been on Facebook for a while as a Tom Morello. But the Facebook page is actually Tom Moore, not Tom Morello. And then Tom Morello told me, when I'd already been talking to him on text, he says, oh, I sent you a friend request, and the name is Tom Moore because, Morello, the one that's the guitar player or whatever. I said, okay. Well, that Facebook page was created in August. The other Facebook page has been around since 2012, maybe 11. I think there's even a Contact in the Desert posting of 2010 or 13. I don't know. Okay, so that other Facebook page has a history to it, but the one that I'm interacting on has only been created since August of this year. Now, I didn't realize it. There's been several communications between Tom and I on that Facebook, and I noticed that he actually tried to send me a message before he was my Facebook friend back in the beginning of October. Maybe it's either October 5th or October 7th or something like that. So I find that interesting that this person has been not only was able to talk to me 2 weeks ago on YouTube by leaving a comment. They had actually made an effort to contact me earlier than that. So all of these things gave me a really kind of a creepy feeling. I felt fear in the pit of my stomach because I thought to myself, what have I been telling this person? His YouTube doesn't match up. His phone number isn't the phone number it isn't under the name that he said he was. And when I asked him why that was, even on the YouTube channel, he told me, well, it's just a disposable. It's a disposable. I bought it from Walmart, and I mean sometimes a phone can belong to somebody before, and sometimes that person's name might still be on the phone. But usually, when you look at Ben Verified, it'll give you and it also might be these people's numbers too, because of that. But these were two separate Ben Verifieds. From, the phone number that I was talking on had nothing to do with Tom Morello. Nothing to do with Tom Morello, and had a completely different name. And that's the part that, freaked me out. And so to be honest with you, I actually discussed this with Steve Cambion because I wanted to get a second opinion. And I was thinking of actually trying to get him on live and then start asking these questions. just as long as that I didn't show his personal information, I could still like have, the dialogue and the conversation. But when I went to talk to him about like the details of what I wanted to do for the show, one thing is I said, well, I want to be able to bring you on. Tell me how because he told me like his wife, and he says on the show, her father was a UFO experiencer with Project Blue Book, and that he had his own UFO experiences. And then when he met her, I wanted to know how the channeling started, and how did all this stuff, because he says he has like 27 years of recording of the actual channeling, which I would be interested in listening to. And we even discussed, can we play it on the show? All right. And but and so anyway, so there were things. So when I was telling him about what I wanted him to do on the show, he was getting obstinate about it. Like, he didn't want to talk about his history. He wanted us to go like, I just want to ask the people out there if they've been an experiencer, and where, and then we would just answer them. I said, yeah, but why would they, like, I could do that with anybody. Like, I could bring in Charles from Project Camelot here, right? Charles says, the fellow was googly-eyed, Terry. He's after a bed notch. Mark Salas, beautiful girls, Far East students, not SRT mockery. Okay, malarkey. So you think the guy was just enamored, not really like. And mods in here, how about a wrench, Miss Joyce? Oh my good, look what happened. Oh, we had a visitor. I'm just going to go ahead and like say it. Webcam HD XYZ will satisfy your wishes online. So obviously, this is cool. Because I was saying, what I was talking about, right? So somebody has actually created a Facebook, not a YouTube channel profile to say those things so that they can come into this chat room in real time and make that comment. Well done, guys. You're so well organized. You are so well organized. So who is that doing that? Is that them? Like where does this? Because this is like typical. This is typical YouTube for me. It's bringing up the good memories back. But just because I've noticed it, and I do need to get a moderator. I need a moderator. So if anybody's interested, let me know. All right. So I'm going to block this person. And we'll see if they've got more. Yeah, I really do, Terry. He was all wrong. No, I really do, Terry. He was all wrong. Okay, thank you, Charles. Thank you, because Charles knows. Charles is like, he is the assassin to the elite, to the Illuminati. So I know. I trust you, Charles. I mean, I trust what you're thinking. Okay, so the main thing that happened now, we did the show. We talked later on, and then I didn't tell you the resistance. Anyway, so there's a resistance of him wanting to be on camera. There was a resistance to him, not wanting to talk about his past. And those to me were another red flag. I'm like, okay, well, if you are who you say you are, and you've gone to all these UFO conventions, and you have all this data that you even wrote a book about, why wouldn't you want to come out? And why wouldn't you know the bullet points of like how describe from A to Z, like what your story is? That's why I have you on. And then if we have people like who want to like be in the chat and ask questions, or you want to open it up to, to advocate for people that are UFO experiencers, then yeah, fine, let's do it. But there's got to be a reason why people think that they want to actually tell anything like that to you. Like, what gives you the credibility for people to come to you and share their stories? And he seemed resistant to that. Now, I looked back and I go, maybe I thought in my head, maybe he was just nervous. Maybe he needed to control the show, and there's control issues with his personality, and there isn't something nefarious going on. But in lieu of everything else, in lieu of the fact that his phone number was not registered to a Tom Morello, I was not trusting him. And the fact that he was resisting to being transparent about who he is, because I'm definitely transparent about who I am, right? And on my show, and I expect guests to be that way, because that's what this is about. I found that was not something that was like desirable for me. I'm going to be really honest with you. And I felt like he was wasting my time, and time is precious right now. And so finally I just, get to the point, I say something like, and then he acted like, well, I just don't want to have it be disrespectful, and I want it to be professional, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. I feel like I'm professional, but if you're thinking about professionalism is not, I'm not going to ask you some real questions, or that later on, if I've interviewed you, but I find you to be a fraud later on, which has happened to me a lot, then I'm going to come out and be honest with people about what I really think. And it doesn't, and our past relationship with the fact that I've had you as a guest, or that we've done a few shows together, does not necessarily mean that I owe you to be part of your PR for you to make money and suck it up if I think that you are nefarious or not what you represent yourself to be. All right? I don't play that game. And I don't care either if you don't like the fact that I am going to tell people or express on my YouTube channel, whether it be a joke or just sitting here talking or whatever, what I really think. Now, I will also come out and tell people if I'm wrong, because I don't have to be right. But I'm going to tell you what I think and how I feel, because that's the only thing I know that is real for me. All right. So all these things added up made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. I haven't felt safe. I feel under attack. I feel like my time has been wasted. Even the fact that I'm here in my school cafeteria talking about it right now is really kind of like, why are you doing it? Because I think you need to know the truth. At least what I think is going on and what is happening to me in relation to this situation and Sarah Rachel. Because Sarah Rachel Adams is, if you, all directions point back to her. Everybody who is sort of antagonizing me right now is related to her. So the thing that really turned me off yesterday and made me block him again, and not only is he blocked from my phone now, but he's also blocked on my Facebook. The thing that turned me off has to do with Tina Black. And it has to do with the fact that the last tweet that Sarah at Terry Joyced me with accused me and Tina Black of being haters who conspired to kill her like they killed Max Beers. So when Tom Morello is, I guess, really, when I did do a search about him, I took his wife's obituary and the book that they wrote and everything, and I put it on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter to see if anybody in this community had ever heard of him before, or his wife, or the book, or have seen them in any UFO conventions. And by the way, it was crickets. Nobody responded or even came back and said, no, I never heard of him before. So, this person who, how connected would this person be if nobody really knows him and just kind of popped in out of the blue for me? How would he know or be interested in Tina Black? Right? How would he be interested in Tina Black? That's the problem that I have. And I said, what do you want to know? Oh, so my friend so-and-so wants to know. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. All right? Because Tina Black, I don't really know who Tina Black is, to be honest with you. I don't think Tina Black is really Tina Black's real name. And actually, Tina Black, I don't even know what her face looks like. Just like Tom Morello for a long time, I don't really know even what she looks like. I do know that she's based in the UK. She does have a Facebook page that I got out of, that she was, disseminating some information that was often aligned with some of the other people that have been reporting on Sarah that I guess is not favorable, because there's quite a few right now. And there's quite a few that I would say are legitimate and pretty, I would say, YouTube hosts with integrity that do thorough research. All right. And Tina Black was doing those things. And Tina Black told me that Sarah thought she was Carissa Renteria. I'm going to mess up her name, and I'm sorry, Carissa. I've never met Carissa before, but apparently Tina Black was getting accused for being actually Carissa, and said that I was with her conspiring against Sarah. I've never even met Carissa. But what I found to be interesting about this, because who cares, really? But what's interesting about it is that I had a series of really awful Instagram pictures of myself that was redone with sperm being shot into my face and a penis near my mouth, which is actually sexual harassment online. And also with it, it looked like they would show a face, and the guys the faces that popped up as being the person that did it was really creepy looking. They made reference to Stephen D. Kelly, which I'm going to be transparent here again before too. I used to be in a relationship with him, and I'm not anymore, but I think that, it was there to dig me as if the person who was doing it to me thought I was. Said some really filthy, disgusting dialogue and abusive, and I kept blocking a profile, and then they would create another profile and do the same thing again with the same types of pictures and the same type of harassing faces. I have this documented. I keep everything on file because I'm prepared to do whatever I have to do to stop this. Or even if she does somehow decide to has even a shred of ability to take legal action on me, I can go to court and show what she's been doing and have my lawyer and countersue or whatever might actually end up happening here. I'm hoping that it really doesn't go to that. I'm a student and I really just want it to stop. I do feel stressed out about it. I do feel unsafe. It has affected my ability to concentrate on my studies. And I have had a series of threats that have just continuously culminating from her. And some of them are directly from her. She creates other profiles or finds places to say something to me in other areas that I have either a Facebook fan page or whatever. So another thing I want to say, and this is where codependent comes into the picture, because Tina Black showed me graphics of screenshots of a few months ago accusing Tina Black of being Carissa Renteria. Now, Carissa Renteria also had the same type of Instagram photos done to her after we got these notifications where these, I'm assuming Sarah, Cody, whatever, because Cody, are you involved in this? I'm just wondering, right? Cody was accusing Tina Black of being Carissa Renteria, and then after that, I get the dick pics with the pictures, and so does Carissa on her Instagram. And that's a very interesting coincidence. All right? I hope you get that. I hope now, maybe even as disjointed or whatever this conversation sounds like, that you were able to maybe make and connect exactly, see why I am not feeling safe and I'm tired of it. Okay. Now, when Mr. Morello gets on the phone after all this stuff, after me being suspicious of his identity, now it doesn't really matter that he's Tom Morello. It is odd that he has a phone number that's not registered to his name. It is odd that he was using two different Facebook pages. And I find it really out of character that he should be asking me anything about Tina Black or what's going on. And I can only surmise from whatever I've been going through and however I've watched it fall down on social media, including YouTube and my channel, and my own private emails from Sarah. I would say that it looks like these people, codependent, maybe even Judas Goetz, Tom Morello, and however, she has a team of lackey to go in and bully anybody that she doesn't like, who are asking, I think, some really poignant questions. And my really poignant question to you, Sarah, is after Taj went on Sean Atwood's show, sitting with Sandra DeRoy, and said that he was your manager, and they went in and they described how Max's cell phone fell into the bathtub. And we know the story behind that is because he was supposedly sexting with you. And that was initially the reason why the information on his cell phone was wiped, not only wiped on his cell phone, but also on his computer. Now, we know that Monica Duvall sent that piece of, that little, the SIM card that was scratched. And allegedly, and I confirmed this with Vanessa too, in a book that was about human sacrifice. And if that wasn't creepy, then what is, right? All right. So part of that narrative, part of Sarah's narrative, part of the reason for Max's information to be missing initially is something that involves Sarah, who, according to Vanessa, was not in a relationship with Max at the time when he was in Poland, or the time of his death. And according to Sandra DeRoy, that is also true. I can't see how Taj could go on Sean Atwood's show and even be part of the official narrative of what happened when the two women that because for a while he was working with Sandra and I think they were going to do projects together. All right. That he could sit between those two women that have actual different narratives as to the details that happened before he died. And I have asked that question over and over and over again, and I never get an answer from any of them at all, not even Taj. And the only thing that Taj can tell me on my Twitter is that I'm a loser living off the government dime in a fucking trailer. You know what that is that I learned here in my English 3 class? That is called ad hominem. It's called poisoning the well. It's not an argument. It's not an argument to insult the character, the looks, the monetary, whatever, my state in life, or call me a loser, and think that that is a sufficient conversation to the questions that I have. Ever since I have experienced that thought, and the reason why I'm bringing it up again, because I think that is exactly why Sarah's going nuts. Because even if Sarah, I don't want to say, Sarah is involved in his death. I have none of that knowledge. We still don't know what really happened. But if she wasn't who she said she was, and that really didn't happen, then why is that made up? And why did she go into the papers and the mainstream papers and call herself a super soldier, call herself his fiance, and say that they were going to want him to have a baby and get a big boost? Enough to where she can get on Coast to Coast and she can do this and she can get $200,000. Not, make $200,000 a year for intuitive healing and psychic readings. When the very thing of who she is and what is truthful about a death that went all the way to the BBC and they had a documentary on. I'm sorry, but I'm a bit disgusted, and I am disgusted with the people who are in this media that have channels that are perpetuating things like this, and that they do not have the decency to be transparent or thorough in their research or their testimony about the death of somebody else that was in our community. And if you're going to do this kind of shit because I say those things, well, then I guess that's your problem. Okay? I feel better now. I feel like I have gotten it out. And I have said my piece. And if I have to say it in court, I'll say it again. All right. Rogue Status says, Yep, when people can't argue, they act the actual point, they ad hominem is all they got. Yep, that's true. It is true, and it's not acceptable, and they do it all the time. And I challenge you. I challenge you guys to take notice of it when it happens. And so now I'm going to say goodbye because I got to finish my paper. Bye.